a tragic story. We are hearing tonight from the parents of the boy killed on that extreme water slide billed as the world's largest. Their emotional and candid account of the unimaginable. Matt Gutman sat down with the family, who has a message for us all.
On the August day, the Schwabs went to the world's tallest water slide. Admission was free for the families of state legislators. But that thrill ride would cost the Kansas state legislator and his wife what was most dear.
6 went to the park and 5 came back.
6 went to the park, 5 came back.
Now, for the first time, Scott and Michelle Schwab recounted that tortured Sunday, hoping that sharing their story will help keep Caleb's memory alive.
But I still can remember him sitting on the floor in there saying, "Come on, we're going to go to the park." And he just lit up. He was so excited.
So the Schwabs piled their 4 boys, including 10-year-old Caleb, into the car. They had a nickname for their second son.
Called him Monkey Bear because he climbed everything. He would hug like a bear. I mean, he's 10 years old and he still wraps his arms and legs around you. You hug.
He was that kind of brother. You see him here dancing with his baby brother Isaac. When they got to the park, Caleb and his 12-year-old brother Nathan went right to the 170-foot scaffold of verrückt, which means insane in German. The park billed it as an extreme thrill ride.
Before they took off, I said, "Brothers stick together." And he says, "I know, Dad."
It was the last time his parents would see Caleb alive. Big brother Nathan was dutifully waiting for him at the bottom when the unimaginable happened.
He was screaming. He flew from verrückt. He flew from verrückt.
Nathan ran to find his mother, but the horror made it nearly impossible for the 12-year-old to explain what he'd seen.
There was a gentleman who wouldn't allow me to come close enough to see what was going on. And he just kept saying, "No, trust me, you don't want to go any further."
Scott was in such shock, Good Samaritans had to confirm the incomprehensible.
I said, "I just need to hear you say it. Is my son dead?" And he just shook his head. And I said, "I need to hear it from you. Is he dead?" He says, "Yes, your son is dead." And they just put us on a golf cart, dropped us in our van and said, "Sorry you lost your son." It was surreal. I don't even hardly remember driving home.
So far, no criminal charges have been filed, but the family has settled with Schlitterbahn, the theme park, for an undisclosed sum, which will go to Caleb's 3 brothers. The family is still pursuing legal action against others, including the firm contracted to build the slide. They declined our request for comment.
You call it an accident, but I think you and your attorneys believe that negligence caused
Oh, yeah,
the accident.
It's an accident. But there's an accounting because someone was negligent.
In a statement to ABC News, Schlitterbahn said it was heartbroken over the tragedy and that the safety of our staff and our guests is our top priority. The park's verrückt water slide set to be torn down. This is the view from the top of verrückt. Thrill seekers fall 17 stories in just seconds. They can hit speeds of nearly 70 miles an hour. Commercials for the ride even asking,
"Are you insane?"
But when the ride first opened 3 years ago, many were asking a different question. Is it safe? Concerns only heightened after this video from the ride's testing phase appeared on the Travel Channel show Extreme Water Parks. Sandbag dummies launching off the slide. The ride's opening was repeatedly delayed while designers attempted to work out the kinks, adding in more safety features like netting and safety belts. When it opened, it was finally deemed a feat of engineering. I was the first TV journalist to go down.
This is literally not for the faint of heart.
There were lifeguards, safety checks, and, on this day at least, a park employee at the top of the ride reading a 2-page liability agreement.
There is a risk inherent to the activity, including falls.
My first trip down was a vertigo-inducing plummet, but overall fun. A completely different scene than the tragedy that unfolded when Caleb Schwab lost his life. But it's easy to see how, in a fast-paced ride like this, things can go wrong in an instant. This man was in an Austin, Texas area slide when he careered off the edge, falling down into a rocky cliff. He suffered a broken arm and fractured ribs, but survived. In this video, a man desperately holds on to another rider after falling off of the raft before eventually being plucked back to safety.
Yeah, I've got 30 kids that have fell from the Ferris wheel.
Last August, 3 girls were injured when they fell from a Ferris wheel at Greene County Fair in Tennessee. And last April, a Texas teen died at a church carnival. She was hurled from her seat on a small spinning ride like this one. There are no federal regulations governing amusement parks, and enforcement of state laws is patchwork. The Schwabs and their lawyers are trying to change that. They're still pursuing justice, but sustaining themselves on faith and friends. At Caleb's funeral, his baseball team huddling with Scott. And it was Scott's friends who, a few months after that funeral, took him on a retreat and forced him to spend time grappling with his grief.
After Caleb was killed, you penned a letter to him.
They gave me a notebook, a pen, said, go out, hang out by the river, and you need to write a letter to your son, and then you need to write the response. So my heart got to say what it never really got a chance to say. And it was hard, but it was a release.
Caleb's brothers keep going by keeping their brother in their minds, watching those videos, some of them how-to movies he shot himself.
So in order to push that button in, we need to take this thing out, and that's kind of the key hole.
And that one of him cradling his little brother.
There's times where you're just like, I can't look at that right now.
Yeah.
Then there's other times, you know, you can't sleep, you want to look at it.
What do you miss most about Caleb?
Giving him hugs,
Hugs,
hearing about his day,
my morning hug.
watching him play soccer.
Why was it important for you to do this interview?
We have a box of greeting cards from around the world, and we just want people to know, one, we're thankful, and yeah, we're still hurting, but we're gonna be okay.
For Nightline, I'm Matt Gutman in Kansas City.